Umesikia mzee David amesema hataki kukula chemicals, and those are the sentiments of very many people in the world. A lot of us are now leaning towards eating organic foods because the chemicals in the other food has a lot of devastating effects to our health and the environment as well. Now, at this particular moment, I do want to break down for you the core principles that do support regenerative agriculture. Now, when we are talking about regenerative agriculture, it's coming from the word regenerate, which basically means either you're rebirthing or you're adding more life into something. And now here in our case, we are asking ourselves, how can we add more life into agriculture? And I'll share a few principles that do support regenerative agriculture. We'll start with the principle number 1, minimal soil disturbance. Remember, the soil is living. Huwa tunasema udongo wako uko high. And if you disturb your soil too much, deep tillage, you're always tilling your land too deeply, what you end up doing is you're distracting the structure of the soil and also the living organisms that are present in the soil. You also distract them during deep tillage. And also with soil that has been deeply tilled, it's prone to soil erosion. Therefore, we are advising our farmers to practice minimal tillage in the farm. Yani usisumbue udongo wako sana, because it has devastating effects to agriculture. Another thing that you can do, another principle that supports regenerative agriculture, is crop diversity. We are advocating farmers to move away from monocropping. If you have a particular piece of land and maybe you've been growing tomatoes, ukivuna tomato season ya kwanza, the next season don't grow tomatoes again. Because remember, for something like tomatoes, it takes a lot of nitrogen from the soil, which is one of the nutrients that makes your soil healthy. So if all the time you're growing back the same tomatoes, you're depleting the health of your soil. So if you're growing tomatoes, you can rotate the next season, weke kitu kama maragwe, because we know maragwe naturally is nitrogen fixing in the soil. Kama ulikuwa unapanda mahindi, we know also maize is a heavy feeder, taking a lot of nutrients from the soil. So the next season, kama wale wanavuna saizi, plant something different to make sure that you're returning back nutrients to your soil. Kwa hivyo mambo ya monocropping, growing the same thing over and over and over again, tuachane nayo, sindio? All right, another principle that does support regenerative agriculture is cover crops. Having cover crops on your farm at all times is very, very important. If you're harvesting maize right now, and probably you're planning on planting your next crop in, let's say, November, don't leave your land bare during this period. So you can grow some cover crops, and the intention of growing cover crops is not to harvest. You're not growing them to harvest. You're growing them just to make sure that you're returning back nutrients to the soil. You're growing them to make sure that you're not leaving your soil bare, which is going to be more prone to soil erosion. And you're also growing them to make sure that you're not leaving space for weeds and all that to grow. So dear farmers, always make sure that you have cover crops in your farm. And finally, integrate livestock. This is also another major principle that supports regenerative agriculture, and the importance of integrating livestock in your farm. Number 1, you get organic manure. You know your livestock is going to release waste every single day. This waste is very important when you take it back to your farm. Remember, we are trying as much as possible to grow organic foods, and you can get that from the waste that is coming back from your animals. So instead of wasting that, unaipeleka pale kwa shamba, ina increase the soil health, and then you get more yield. Another important thing of integrating animals in your farm, you can grow different legumes like Lucerne. We know Lucerne is very beneficial to your cows because it's a good source of proteins, but also at the same time, Lucerne fixes nitrogen in your soil. Kwa hivyo ukiwa na ng'ombe wako pale, if it's your sheep, and also you have your farm, it's very easy for you to integrate and make sure that you're not only getting good produce from your cows, but you're also improving the soil health in your farm. So please, farmers, from wherever you're watching us from, take a look and also download, load, digest all these principles of regenerative agriculture, because they'll go a long way in making sure that you're getting optimum yields from your farm, and also at the same time, you're protecting your soil health. And with that, it's time for us to take our first short commercial break, but do not go anywhere, because when we come back, first I will be giving you our farm joke question of the day, and we'll still go back to the farm to learn so much about regenerative agriculture. See you after this break with a lot more.